and my family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans. Now, I know my class will make sure they pay this forward. And I want my class to look at these alumnus, these beautiful Morehouse brothers, and let's make sure every class has the same opportunity going forward. Because we are enough to take care of our own community. We are enough to ensure we have all the opportunities of the American dream.
What's going on, people? It's Jaye BIack here, back with another video. Salute to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about the billionaire Robert Smith. He gave a commencement speech at Morehouse, and he pledged to pay off all of their student loan debt. Okay. Now, I want y'all to understand how significant this is, because you have a guy who is worth $5 billion, according to Forbes, as of this year. Okay. He is the chairman of Vista Equity Partners. Okay. And he has a whole host of credentials. He doing this is part of a pledge that he and I believe Bill Gates as well pledged to give back, because he is a philanthropist, as a lot of, billionaires are. But, you don't really hear about a lot of his philanthropic work like that, especially when it pertains to black men, because for so long, okay, I feel like black men have become very marginalized to the point to where we're only known for negativity in the media and news. You're always hearing about black men being arrested or being a certain way towards women. And I feel like we as black men have been drowning. As far as education, skills, I've told black men myself that the way to go is skill trades. But you do have black men who do go to college, like Morehouse, which is a predominantly, it is a male college. They're trying to seep the social justice BS into Morehouse, but I've spoken about that in a stream previous. If you don't know what I'm speaking about, you can go to my Jaye BIack live streams 2 channel. All right, but I want to focus primarily on this and why it's significant to black men. He didn't really have to do this, but if he isn't going to do it, then who will? HBUs are struggling, and when you have a school like Morehouse, and you got all those black men who are graduating, going to be going out into the workplace, the one thing if you want them to succeed, you don't want them to have to deal with student loan debt, because there are a lot of Americans, no matter what their race is, who are dealing with student loan debt. You got people who are in their 30s and 40s, probably in their 50s, who are still dealing with student loan debt. They have incurred so much debt through all the student loans that they took out in order to afford college. So this is very significant. And what this does with this pledge, what this does is it eases the burden on them so they can succeed, and they don't have to worry about in the back of their mind, I gotta find a job in order to pay that debt. Because people don't know, months, I believe 6 months after you graduate, you have to start paying that debt back. At least that's what I've known it to be. Okay. And it gives those guys the opportunity to find the jobs that they want. Obviously they're going to find jobs for the most part, but they don't have to rush and just find anything, and no one wants to deal with student loan debt, because a lot of times you got people who racked up thousands, if not almost hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. That's why scholarships have been very important. That's why if you're an athlete in high school, when you get a scholarship, and let's say that your playing career doesn't pan out, you still got that college, that diploma, not diploma. You still got that scholarship that will allow you to be able to attend classes and things like that. And I know they can sort of take away scholarships, but for the most part, it helps, you know. Now, I'm gonna read this article from the New York Times. It says Morehouse college graduate student loans to be paid off by Billionaire. 396 young men begin the day as students in caps and gowns, ready to graduate from Morehouse College, full of hope, but burdened in most cases with the debts that finance their education. Then their commencement speaker went off script with an extraordinary pledge. The newly minted alumni of the historically black college in Atlanta will go forth into the world student debt free. All right. Robert F. Smith, the billionaire investor who founded Vista Equity Partners and became the richest black man in America, told the crowd that he and his family would pay off the entire graduating class's student debt, freeing them to begin their next chapter, whether it was a master's program, a position with Teach for America, or an internship at Goldman Sachs without loan payments to worry about. That's the thing. Robert Smith got started off at Goldman Sachs, you know, and that's what I was speaking about as far as being able to find the jobs or get internships and not have to worry about paying this student loan debt back, because there are a lot of people who are still paying this off. And what's very interesting is that you have people who will go to school for 4 years or however long, right? They will incur this debt, but they still don't even get jobs in the field of what they were going to school for. They end up getting something totally different. It's like people get business degrees. I think business degrees is probably primarily mostly for either you're trying to be an entrepreneur or maybe you're going into management, you know. But there's a lot of people who I know would go for business degrees and they really can't do nothing with it, you know. But that's why I think that if you're not satisfied with the choices of degrees and you don't want to have to incur so much debt, get a skill trade, you know. The announcement came at a time of growing calls across the country to do something about the mounting burden of student loan debt, which has more than doubled in the past decade. I think it's doubled because you've had people signing up for school. Like, I've known people, man, not know them personally, but I've known of stories, who will go to school just so they can get them a student loan check. They will go for that semester until they got them a student loan check, and then they will stop going, not understanding that that's a debt that you got to pay back. You have to pay that money back, you know, and they don't understand it. Okay, they don't understand it until they get that bill in the mail, or they get that phone call from Sally Mae, you know. Presidential candidates like Elizabeth Warren have made debt cancellation a key plank in their campaign platforms, and some states and institutions are moving to make college tuition free. Well, good luck with that, because how are they going to be able to attend universities with no college debt? Then that means that the government would have to basically pay these students to go and not expect anything back. Do you really think that that's going to happen? We're going to put a little fuel in your bus. Mr. Smith, dressed in an academic regalia to receive an honorary doctorate, said near the end of his address on Sunday at the school's 135th commencement service. He turned to Morehouse alumni in attendance and abruptly issued a challenge. "This is my class 2019, he said, personally claiming the graduating seniors as his own. And my family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans." If y'all could see the faces on the people behind him, it was priceless. Absolutely priceless. That he was willing to do this. Now, we do want to see this thing seen through, of course. But just in that moment, you think that, you know, he's there to speak, you know, just to give a generic, graduating speech, wishing you luck on your future endeavors, whatever it is you're choosing to do in life, just go and be as successful as possible. And what he ends up doing is basically changing the course of their life with this pledge. Because these young black men, and I'm gonna say a lot, but there are probably those guys who probably didn't have a father figure, didn't really have any males in their life, really go to the extent to make sure that they are successful. And you have a guy in Robert Smith who looks just like them, who says, hey, I'm going to help you be successful. I'm going to help take the burden off of your back. And I think that's something to really look at and admire. Whether you like who he's married to or not, that doesn't take away from what he is doing. I feel like what he is doing is a good thing. We need to see more of this. Other communities, they have the men and the women who are able to help the young people in their communities. But in the black community, we don't have that happen very often. We have people who get on social media and they virtue signal. Okay, they race bait, but they don't do anything as far as helping these young men, especially these young men, because they need the most. Black men need more help than anybody. And I think that's why Robert Smith is doing what he is doing, because they've already graduated. So it's not like he's giving them a handout. They've put the work in for 4 years. They're graduating, and all he's doing is easing the burden that they would have. But they don't have it anymore, because the one problem that we do have is the student loan debt. It's becoming a crisis. All these people going to school. You got people who've been in school for probably 10 years. I know of people, older people, who are still in college. Not that they've been there for 20 or 30 years, but they went back to school, okay? And they're incurring debt. But what if you graduate, you get your degree, and there's no job waiting for you? So I think that for those young men to be as excited as they was, that they can go out into the world and they can feel like somebody who looked like them were able to help them, push them forward and believe in them. Because to make a pledge like this, it shows that Robert Smith believes in them, And I also think that internships works as well. They can also do internships while they're working as well, working a certain, what I'm saying? Just, it gives them options now. They don't have to rush and get a job. They have options, and I think that that's what college should be. A lot of these guys who graduate, they shouldn't have to deal with in the back of their mind, I got to pay all this money back. But again, you chose to go that lane of getting student loans. You do have to pay them back. Now, you have these Democratic candidates that are going to lie to you and say they're going to do away with student loan debt. But come on, the government's going to get their money. Okay. But I think this is a really cool thing that Robert Smith did. But y'all can let me know what you think in the comment section below. And let me know your thoughts.